Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Art of Actualization. Today, I want to talk about a really simple idea that I think people are tripping up on, and it's the idea that you don't need to find yourself, you actually get to create yourself. The fact is, we are a combination of our genetics and our experiences. So, when we choose our experiences, when we cultivate our environments, our activities, and decide what boundaries to push, we're creating ourselves bit by bit. I think when you realize that, you gain a lot of power over your life. And that's really what this channel is all about. How can you create yourself in an image that you feel good about? It's stepping into your ideal self, and the first step is realizing that you can do it if you decide to. So that's what I want to talk about today. In my Intro to Psychology class, we were presented with this graph of how people's personalities change as they age, and it varies by country, by culture. I found this slide for you, and you can see the Americans have a slightly different pattern from the other cultures shown. Our neuroticism tends to go up a bit between our 20s and 40s before it goes down like everyone else's. And then in the conscientiousness, you can see that Americans actually become less conscientious from our 40s on. And that's sort of a measure of how organized you are, to oversimplify a bit. When I saw this, I thought, oh, here's a bit of evidence that our environment changes our actual personality, which is supposed to be relatively stable throughout our lives, right? That's what we're told. That's literally what we were taught in psychology the week before they showed us this slide. And as our research has come out around neuroplasticity, it's become really clear that we still learn as we age and our personalities can continue to change as well. No matter how old you are, as long as you're alive, you are not frozen in the version of yourself that you are now, not unless you decide to be. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy that a lot of people fall into. We see it all the time, and it's really quite a shame. I was actually just in an art class the other day, and there was a woman sitting next to me, and she kept saying that she couldn't do art. She couldn't do art because she didn't have a talent for it. And this woman, she's older, she's lived her whole life feeling like she can't do art because she's bad at it. And that's such a sad that's such a sad thing to see because anyone can do art, and the more you do it, the better you'll be at it. That's what I know, but not everybody understands that. Not everybody sees the world that way. And I'm not saying that you could or should just wake up tomorrow and be a whole different person. It really isn't that simple, but you can make small changes and choices that impact your environment and thus your experiences. You can build new habits, and all of that will slowly shift your identity over time. You can, and actually you already are, making choices every single day that shape the version of you that exists tomorrow. And I want to empower you to take that responsibility and actively pursue a better version of yourself or a version of yourself that's more in line with who you actually want to be. If you want to be smarter, you can do that. If you want to be stronger, fitter, richer, more relaxed, better in relationships, whatever it is, you can make choices today that build that version of you for tomorrow. If you're into reading, I really recommend Mindset by Carol Dweck on this topic because she really delves into how it's so easy to impact how well people perform on various topics by priming them to have either what she calls a growth mindset, meaning making them believe this is something that they can get better at, or a fixed mindset, meaning that they believe something is based on talent or genetics. You either have it or you don't. And it's really great to go through and see all the examples that she gives, all the studies that she cites. It will really change your mind if you are somebody who feels like your abilities are fixed or your personality is fixed. That's just not the case. And when when we tell kids like you're stupid and then the kid is bad at math or whatever, that's an example of this, but this applies to adults. It continues on into adulthood that whatever you're primed to believe about your abilities will kind of be true. And in reality, if you believe you can learn something or change a behavior, whatever your age, position, history on that topic, and you're willing to work on it, you can change that behavior. I never really did sports as a kid, but I took up ice skating as an adult, and I'm slowly getting better at it. I can already do more than I would have ever expected that I could do based on how I felt the first many times I got on the ice. I'm learning French now, and language learning was never something that I felt adept at, but I looked into how it's different from other learning and what study skills I needed to develop to get good at it. And now I'm seeing very real progress there as well. And I think there are countless other examples. These are top of mind because I'm still actively working on them. But there's so many examples in my life and that I've seen in other people that show that developing a growth mindset and understanding that even if you don't perform the way you wanted to, in whatever way the first time or the first many times, it's not necessarily and very unlikely to be a matter of ineptitude, but it's a matter of time and practice and finding the right connection to the material for yourself. It will change your life. You can get good with money, you can get smarter. You can learn how to do your dream hobby. You can become self assured. You can find new friends who actually get you. You can live a better life than you have now. You just have to recognize that and decide you're going to pursue it. I hope I can help you with that. That's why I'm here. I want to help women build their best lives and become the women of their dreams. Like I said, I'd recommend you pick up Mindset by Carol Dweck. You can probably find the audiobook on Libby with your public library if you'd prefer to listen. It's a worthwhile read. Anywhere you can find it, get your hands on it, give it a read. Even if it takes you 6 months to get through it, it's still worth it. Now, I want you to just think for a moment if you could change yourself or your circumstance in any way, how would you change it? Imagine what that would feel like as you're imagining it. This is what I want you to know about that. It's not impossible, and it's worth working towards. You deserve that life that you're imagining right now. If you're brave, I would love it if you could tell me what you're wanting to change in the comments. I'd love to know. I think it'll help guide future podcast episodes, and I also just think it's always interesting to see what other people would want to change, what's important to you. Um, I hope that you'll subscribe so you can join me next time and we can start working on it together. And I love you. I'll see you next week.